Following is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
It's been a long time since the Twins have beaten the Oakland A's. It's been too long. They'll try to do it tonight in Game 3 out here in the Bay Area, taking on the best team in the major leagues. Jeff Samardzija was enjoying his finest year with the Chicago Cubs until he was dealt to the A's prior to the All-Star break. He'll make his first start against the Twins here tonight. Trevor May will make his first major league start, being called up from Rochester to Oakland. And we're set for Game 3 between the A's and the Twins. Dick Bramer and Jack Morris with you from the Bay Area. The Twins are going to send highly touted Trevor May out to the mound here tonight, hoping to end an 11-game losing streak to the A's.
Nothing, no pressure for the rookie at all. Just go out there and stop the bleeding for the Twins. This kid's prepared, though, and it's really all about his emotions. You can see his numbers in the minor leagues there.
Trevor May, with a winning record, was supposed to pitch in the Futures game, but had a calf injury, so was unable to participate there. Instead, he'll jump on the big stage here in Oakland, taking on the Oakland A's, and he talked about the thrill of being called up finally to the big league ball club.
That's why you start playing baseball when you're a little kid, and when it finally does happen, it's kind of surreal for a bit, but I had the whole flight here and stuff to kind of get that out of the way, and then just coming into the clubhouse, it feels like another day at the field. So I'm definitely excited to be here, and it's just one of those cool things that happens in your life and it only happens once. So I'm just enjoying it.
Mall of America scouting report on Trevor May. He's got all three of the major pitches: fastball, a good over-the-top breaking ball, and his go-to pitches, out pitches, his changeup. His advantage tonight, starting in Oakland, he's pitching in the biggest and the best pitcher-friendly ballpark. The disadvantage is can control his emotions. Major league debut, all the hype and hoopla about that. He's facing the best team in baseball here tonight, so it'll be a fun night for us to watch. We'll see if Trevor's up to the task.
And ultimately, the big question will be, can he control this Oakland lineup? Nobody in baseball has scored more runs than the lineup Trevor May will pitch to tonight. is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Bud Light Lime, the perfect beer for whatever happens. And by Jeep. Hurry in and get a great deal during the Jeep Summer Clearance event. Another beautiful day in the Bay Area, although we do have cloud cover as this game gets started. Twins won one ball game last year against the Oakland A's. It was the very first game that they played. And the Twins have lost 11 straight to the A's since then. Ron Gardenhire hoping that the Twins can score first. 8 times in the 11-game losing streak, the A's have scored first. He'll send out this Menard batting order. Danny Santana leading things off. Brian Dozier, then Trevor Plouffe. Kenny Vargas hitting cleanup. Josh Willingham fifth. Chris Parmalee did pretty well here in limited duty at the Oakland Coliseum. Eduardo Escobar, Eric Fryer, and then Jordan Schaefer.
They're going to be facing the right-hander, Jeff Samardzija. He's making his 7th start since being acquired from the Cubs on July 5th. 2-1 with the A's with a 3.09 ERA, and he's 2-0 right here in Oakland as one of the new members of the rotation. Sinker slider type pitcher, so the Twins need to get on the board first, like you said.
The Northland Ford defense for the A's. Sam Full getting left field. Coco Crisp in center. Josh Reddick in right. Donaldson, Lowry, Sogard, Moss, the infielders. Derek Norris back behind the plate. John Jaso did the catching last night. Samardzija found it all coming together for him with the Cubs on the mound. He wasn't getting any run support to speak of through the first 2 months of the year, and then was dealt over here on July 5th. And everyone thought that was Oakland's big move, but turns out they made a bigger one later when they brought John Lester over. And there is Trevor May, hoping that Danny Santana and the Twins can give him some runs to work with. There's a pitch at the knees, strike one. Santana keeping his batting average a few ticks above 500, or excuse me, 300. Hooked foul. Game time temperature 57 degrees.
A little cool. The fog has rolled down the hills and right over the top of this building. Maybe that'll cool down the Oakland A's.
Samardzija, as you saw, a couple of wins since coming over from the Cubs. And Santana drives it to center. Crisp is over to catch the liner. Santana did that last night. He fell behind 0-2 and he hit the ball hard. Caught by the center fielder, one away. And that'll bring up Brian Dozier. Samardzija had an odd July. He started the month representing the Chicago Cubs. Dealt to the A's. He made the All-Star team as a member of the National League squad, but was introduced on the American League side and introduced with an All-Star cap on because he got to the game based on his exploits with the Chicago Cubs.
That doesn't happen every day.
1 strike to Dozier. That's one down the line. Dozier drops it into fair territory, hustling towards second base, and Dozier's in with a double. So the Twins hit a couple of balls hard early against Jeff Samardzija.
Something special in the air of this first game of the series where the Twins have had a base runner in the first inning. You see that fastball that was just kind of left up. He tried to have a sinker come down and in. He left it up over, and that's exactly where Brian Dozier loves the ball.
Dozier getting the sliding wrist guard from Paul Molitor. Here's Plouffe. And a strike at the knees. 6 pitches, 6 strikes from Samardzija. Samardzija dealt here with a 2-7 mark, but an ERA of 2.83, and that was after a bad June. Shot foul, 2 strikes. Took Samardzija 10 starts to finally pick up a win. See Trevor Plouffe leading the team in runs batted in, hoping to pick up another one here in the first inning. Twins had a 5-run inning late in the ball game last night. Still came up a run short. Hoping to score first here tonight. Inside. With Samardzija, wasn't just poor run support. It was no run support at all. The Cubs simply weren't scoring any runs for him early in the season.
His overall record 4-8, but a very good ERA of 2.91. It's under 3.
1-2 to Plouffe. And now 2-2. Twins actually faced Samardzija a couple of years ago at Target Field as a member of the Cubs. Toughed him around pretty good. 8 runs, 3 2/3 innings. Trevor Plouffe hit a 2-run double against him back then. And a liner into center field. Dozier around third, and the Twins will score first. Plouffe with an RBI single. 3 well-hit balls here in the first inning against Samardzija.
Again, Samardzija makes a mistake. This time Trevor Plouffe does not let it go by. He's able to inside out, get the barrel of bat on the ball and drive it into center field, picking up another RBI. Ball was left up just a little too much, and Trevor did a good job of pulling his hands in and shooting that ball up the middle.
That'll bring up Vargas. Vargas with a couple of hits in the game, singles. Swing and a miss. Vargas indirectly taking a roster spot previously held by Kendrys Morales. Morales, a first base DH type, dealt to the Mariners several weeks ago. Ball strike 0-2. Morales with the Mariners is hitting .146 with no home runs and 7 runs batted in. (0-2) to Kenny Vargas. It's a slow roller, and that will get flipped to the second baseman. They get Plouffe at second. Vargas reaching on a fielder's choice. Sogard flipping it to Lowry, 2 away.
The play there where Sogard flipped it, he never did anything with his throwing hand. He just simply gloved it, backhanded it all in one motion. Kind of a risky play when it's going to end up being a bang bang play. You see it right here. Didn't have time to really get to it, but a lot of times that ball can stick in the web of the glove. That time he got away with it.
Willingham takes a strike. Willingham played 1 year here in Oakland just prior to coming to Minnesota. Hit .246 with 29 home runs and 98 runs batted in. Then had the breakthrough year, by far his best year, with the Twins when he hit 35 home runs and drove in 110. 2 strikes.
Josh going through a pretty tough stretch right now. He's missing the ball by quite a bit when he misses it. He struck out too many times here in the last few games. See if he can maybe shorten up a little and make a little better contact. 2 quick strikes on him.
One and 2. First 2 games have ended with a Willingham strikeout. Willingham nearly hit a go-ahead home run in his 9th inning at bat last night. A ball that was foul by a few feet. Tapper foul. Another 1-2 pitch. High fastball got him. The Twins get a double and a single to get the game's first run.
They're a pretty real good team, and they've shown that this year. And you know, if you're going to come up and get going, you know, you might as well do it against, you know, the guys that are doing their jobs really well and see what you got. So, you know, I'm excited. I don't think it could be any better.
And he's got a 1-0 lead before he throws his first pitch. That should help as well.
His teammates showing the love already.
Here you see his AAA numbers. We mentioned that he had such a good first half. He was supposed to pitch in the Futures game at Target Field on that Sunday afternoon before the All-Star game. But he suffered a calf injury and missed 3-4 weeks right about that time. Melvin, as his team playing very good baseball pretty much all year long. They've been class of this division all year long, and it'll be Coco Crisp leading things off. One would think they will take strikes until May proves he can throw them. Trevor in foul ground makes a play. 1 pitch, 1 out. Okay, so much for that. It is Coco Crisp eager to get things going against Trevor May. He's already retired. Sam Fuld will bat second. Then Josh Donaldson, Brandon Moss, Derek Norris, Josh Reddick, Jed Lowry, Stephen Vogt, and Eric Sogard.
They're going to face the man right there, Trevor May. He was acquired in a trade with the Phillies back on December 12th of 2002. Vance Worley and Ben Revere went over to Philly.
Here's Fuld. And a strike. Vance Worley came to the Twins, obviously struggled. He's back with the Pirates now and doing well. Ben Revere hit over 300 last year. And his average coming into play today was over 300. Line drive to right. Folds aboard with a single. Jordan Schaefer getting the ball back in quickly. And that'll bring up Josh Donaldson. 3 pitches, 3 strikes, 2 of them put in play, 1 caught for an out, and this line drive single from Sam Fuld.
Well, just too much of the plate right up in the swing zone. Sam Fuld puts a good swing on. Talking to his catcher, Eric Fryer, before the game, he said he's a guy that throws a lot of strikes. He doesn't get behind too many guys. He's comes at you. Mentioned that his changeup is his best pitch.
Here's Donaldson. Ball 1. Throwing strikes, throwing enough of them was a concern regarding May when he was with the Phillies. He has tightened up his control. He admitted yesterday too he felt he was issuing too many walks earlier in his minor league career. And a strike. Fryer paired with May because they were battery mates. Eric told me about 8 times in Rochester this year. So who better to help May in his debut than a guy who knows a lot about him.
We talk so much about Kurt Suzuki and the great job that he's done behind the dish, but I really have to compliment Eric Fryer. I think he's done a very good job himself. He certainly has not had the same amount of reps that man right there, Kurt Suzuki, has had, but when called upon, done a very adequate job. As of late, he's gotten a few hits offensively too. So slider that we're going to see.
1-1 to Donaldson. Slower breaking ball over for strike 2.
Good location right there, knee high, starts about waist high.
May from up the coast, Longview, Washington. Lives in Kelso, Washington.
The shadows of Mount St. Helens, I'm told.
1-2 to Donaldson. And now 2-2. So in that sense, his debut coming out here in Oakland couldn't be much more convenient
for family and friends.
For family and friends, other than in Seattle itself. It's a long trek from Rochester, New York, almost from one coast to the other to get here. He's waited long enough to get here. I'm sure the flight was the least of his concerns.
It's nothing but good, I'm sure.
2-2. Another throw to first. Fuld was with the Twins and will forever be a threat to steal. Steals, 19 tries on the season for Oakland and Minnesota. And up high now, 3-2.
You would anticipate a little bit of nerves from the young pitcher, trying to find a certain group of hitters. And Josh Donaldson, obviously probably the most productive hitter in the lineup. And Moss on deck.
Fuld stays put. The pitch hit down the corner. And a fair ball right about where Dozier's double was. Fuld to third. They're going to hold him there. Second and third. One away. I'm surprised that Fuld didn't take off, but they held him at first and now had to hold him at third after the Donaldson double.
We see the pitch right here. The Donaldson again. Great extension. The ball was up too much. And the Oakland A's don't miss a lot of mistake pitches.
Now Brandon Moss with the tying run at third, go-ahead run at second, and 1 out.
It'll be curious to me to see if Eric Fryer might try to call a few more breaking balls. We've seen in the first 2 games that the Oakland A's jump all over those early fastballs.
Outside, ball 1.
Changeup right there.
Twins playing Moss with a pull shift. Dozier in short right field. Escobar near the bottom of your screen near second base.
Must have had good coffee in the stands here tonight because this crowd's jacked up already.
A lot of them were waiting here for hours.
Yeah. They were tailgating early here at the Coliseum in Oakland.
Tony La Russa bobblehead night with Mr. La Russa throwing out the first pitch to Terry Steinbach. 2-0 to Brandon Moss. 3-0, Derek Norris on deck. 3 home runs. Good guess that he's got the green light here. Takes ball 4. They're loaded with 1 out. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Josh Willingham is in left. Danny Santana in center. Jordan Schaefer in right. Bloof, Escobar, Dozier, Parmalee, Fryer behind the plate. Bloof coming in from third base to have a word with Trevor May.
I can relate to Trevor May. In my very first start, I found myself in the first inning in this very same predicament. The only difference is I had walked 2 of the 3 guys to load the bases, and I eventually walked a guy in before I got out of that mess.
Here is Norris. Strike 1. Norris, all-star catcher.
Seen enough of Trevor May to really analyze his mechanics, but that particular pitch he did not finish off towards the glove, kind of spun off of it. You don't want to do that. You've got to finish toward the target.
Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. He needs a strikeout or a ground ball hit at somebody here. Full of A's. Smothered by Fryer.
Well, he was making sure that he kept that breaking ball down. Fryer doing a really good job of blocking it, keeping it in front of him. See, he's going to make sure he starts it about knee high, breaks into the dirt.
Two and 2. Full count. On deck. Walked him. The game's tied. And they'll bring a trip to the mound from Rick Anderson. The first out came so quickly on the first pitch, then single, double, walk.
I remember this visit too, except that it wasn't from my pitching coach. It was from my manager, Ralph Houck. Ralph came out, looked me right in the eye and said, "Son, we love the way you throw the ball, but you got to throw strikes or I got to get you out of here." I got a double play ball. See if he can get that done right now.
Okay. May, in his AAA season this year, 95 and a third innings, 37 walks, but 91 strikeouts.
Very good strikeout to walk ratio, about 3-to-1.
Reddick in a tie game. Low again. popped up. Short left. Willingham with the catch. Tagging from third. Donaldson will try to score. He is out of there. Fryer slaps the tag on. An accurate throw from Willingham. And Trevor May wobbles his way through the first inning, giving up just 1 run.
Here's to the green and gold, the Athletics, the Swingin' A's. Here's to the streak and 15 American League pennants. Here's to all the
Giving up just the 1 run. Josh Willingham with a catch in short left field, and I guess it turned out to be a 2-hop throw on target to get the runner tagging.
Moral of the story, trust your defense. Throw the ball across the plate, put the ball in play.
Twins will try to give May another lead. Parmelee, Escobar, and Fryer will hit against Samardzija in the second. Parmelee takes a strike. Samardzija 19 pitches, 16 strikes, and we have seen that repeatedly in this series. The Oakland pitchers throw strikes. They get ahead of hitters. 1-1. We saw it last night from Scott Kazmir. We saw it the night before from John Lester, and we'll see it from this guy as well.
Every pitching coach that has ever been a pitching coach will preach that to every pitcher that they coach.
2-1.
The numbers show just an absolute huge margin when you're ahead in the count, or if the hitter's ahead in the count. There's the 2 previous pitchers, John Lester on the left, Scott Kazmir on the right.
Talked to Kazmir a little bit this afternoon. He said, yeah, it was the walk to Dozier that really made that 7th inning unravel. Santana got a base hit, but the walk to Dozier set in motion what turned into a 5-run inning. Very frustrating for Kazmir because he'd been in control, hadn't walked anybody. You get that deep into a ball game and it's just your first walk, and it could still turn a ball game around.
Conversely, it was the walk that Kyle Gibson gave up in the 5th inning, a leadoff walk to Stephen Vogt. That led to another walk and a base hit and a triple by Coco Crisp. So throw strikes, kids. Make them hit their way on.
2-2 to Parmelee, leading off the 2nd inning. And another foul ball. Parmelee putting together a decent year. His at-bats this year are so much better than they were a year ago when we saw Chris repeatedly take called third strikes. And he's got a definite 2-strike approach that involves swinging the bat. That's a fair ball Off the glove of Moss. He recovers to Samardzija to make the out. He got just enough of it to be able to pick it up and find his pitcher right about the time he was going to get to the bag. One down.
Samardzija, big tall guy. He doesn't quickly get over there, but he does beat Parmley to the bag, and he has to field a tough one there and get his feet underneath him. Good job by both defenders for Oakland there.
One down. That'll bring up Escobar. Escobar back in place as the shortstop. Nunez played there last night. Ball one. That one gets by Moss. And Escobar rounds first, digging for second. Reddick's got a good arm, but his throw's off target. And the Twins pick up their second double. Escobar getting one past the Oakland first baseman.
We saw that last night with the shortstop Jed Lowry. Ball that was hit hard. They're going to give him a double on this, but you gotta give a better effort to throw that big ugly chest in front of that ball. I'm happy for Eduardo Escobar. He hit the ball hard. He did his job. But if I'm on the mound, that guy's my first baseman. I've told Herbeck, hey, you're big. Block it.
Here's Eric Fryer. Everything the Twins have put in play, with the exception of Vargas's dribbler up the middle, has been hit pretty hard. Even Parmley's ground ball was a bid for an extra base hit. Nearly sneaked it past Moss. Santana lined out. Dozier double. Plouffe single. One strike to Fryer. And now two strikes.
Eric Fryer, chance to pick up an RBI right here. They have to do it with two strikes. Shorten up, see if he can go to right. He does that quite well.
Picks it up high. 1-2. The hits have been coming, and Fryer, in fact, last weekend hit a home run in Chicago. To back home runs at U.S. Cellular Field last Sunday. That's a grounder rolled to the shortstop. Lowry has it, and a throw that nearly pulled Moss off the bag. Two down. Escobar to third base for Jordan Schaefer. Time now to tweet a photo using hashtag NorthFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown in a game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Schaefer, with a couple of hits for the Twins, has a chance to drive in his first run for his new ball club. Schaefer getting his first start in right field. We have seen him in left field, and we will see him, we're told, maybe as soon as tomorrow, in center field. And Danny Santana will come in and play shortstop. Inside, ball one.
If and when that happens, I'm very curious to see if Danny Santana will play more than one game at shortstop. If he's going to play a series or maybe a couple series there and get some reps, because I'm not sure it does any good if you just bring him in there for one game.
Schaefer takes outside, 2-0. Samardzija, big man.
I also feel like part of the reason that Jordan Schaefer was acquired was to play center field. Really, the Twins don't have any other options at this point. Give Danny Santana that time at shortstop.
You know. Samardzija 6'5", 225. First team All-American football player. Great baseball player. Down the middle, a strike. Great receiver for the Fighting Irish at Notre Dame. 3-1 to the Twins right fielder. Ball 4. That'll get Santana to the plate with 2 men on. Target Field has become the top choice for families throughout Twins territory for all kinds of special occasions and commemorations. Groups of 25 or more qualify for special ticket discounts and can reserve certain seats without a deposit. Organize a family group outing at Target Field. Plenty of good summertime weather and a nice long homestand coming up as well. 833 Twins or twinsbaseball.com/groups. Here's Santana. Hit an 0-2 pitch pretty sharply to center field. Caught by Coco Crisp. His first time up. When the Twins get back from Houston Wednesday night, the day off, and then 4 with Kansas City, 3 with Cleveland, and 3 with Detroit. The Royals are close to pulling to within a game and a half of the Tigers, who lost. Schaefer takes off, and there will be no throw.
Great jump right there. Schaefer gets off Samardzija. Nothing that Derek Norris was going to be able to do there, so he just holds the ball, looks the runner back. Escobar at third. You can see what a really good jump that was.
Santana with 1 strike. Hit to the outfield, should score 2. He's got a double and a single and a first, a double and a walk so far here in the second. 3 for 8. First time through the batting order. One and 2. This will be the 40th pitch for Samardzija.
Wakes the crowd back up. Tough pitchers pitch right there. You'll see it, a backdoor slider. Just catches the corner. Foxtrack says it's off the plate. Home plate umpire Pat Holberg says no, it wasn't.
Hacked foul. Santana almost got eaten up by a 96-mile-per-hour fastball there. The pitch that struck out Josh Willingham to end the first.
You see Samardzija, when he sets the ball in his hand, he puts the ball like a forkball, but I don't know as though he's thrown any of those.
Twins got a couple of big 2-out hits in their 5-run inning. 7th inning last night. Santana hoping to provide one here early tonight. Little roller to second, hit right at Sogard. And the Twins strand 2. It's still 1 apiece.
inning of work in Oakland. It's tied 1-1, A's and Twins. Trevor's parents, Terry and Ron, are here to watch his major league debut. They flew down from their home in Washington just today. Terry, how are your emotions today?
Well, I'm super excited, but and nervous, but I'm just trying to relax and really enjoy it and enjoy him having his debut.
He had some drama there in the first inning. Ron, what have you seen out of your son so far tonight?
He just needs to settle down and calm down and make his pitches. He'll be just fine.
You've seen him pitch before. How long have you waited and anticipated this day?
Well, I think that we realized probably when he was in high school he might be a big league pitcher, so probably then. And years ago we brought him here to this stadium and we watched the game, and he said if you work really hard, maybe you'll be pitching out here one day.
Are you serious? In this ballpark?
This ballpark.
And here he is.
Yeah.
One out. There's one.
There's one out. Dick and Jack, this is also the first time Trevor has pitched in the Pacific time zone since he was in high school, whatever that's worth.
Okay. Another quick first out in an inning. A fly ball to right, caught by Jordan Schaefer. Lowry retired. That'll bring up Stephen Vogt.
I think his father qualifies for being an analyst or a pitching coach, because both of us would say just calm down and get the ball over, right?
I think you said that in several different manners in that first inning. Here's Vogt. Just off the outside corner. Those of us who never have experienced what May experienced in the first inning or what you did years ago can only imagine the nerves. And for a pitcher to locate a baseball, to throw it with any accuracy at all, you have to, I think, relax, don't you?
Absolutely.
And it's hard to do that when you've been waiting your whole life for that moment.
Well, I think what happens is you're so excited, you're so caught up in the moment that you forget that you still have a job to do. And that job, once you maybe get through the first inning, maybe for both of us, walk a couple guys, give up a run, then you all of a sudden realize, you know what, I'm out here for a reason. I'm going to show everybody what I can do. Hopefully Trevor will start locating his pitches a little bit better and just relax.
As wild as he was in the first inning, you can see just 27 pitches. One and two to Stephen Vogt. Popped up another foul ball. Well, he's mixing up his pitches, changing speeds. Popped up to center field. Santana coming in. 2 outs. The last 4 outs have come pretty quickly. A fly ball double play, a couple of other fly balls to start the second, and now Eric Sogard.
39th, second baseman, number 28, Eric Sogard.
Sogard delivered a big 2-run hit in the ball game last night. Bob Melvin said today he thought that hit was big at the time, and of course then the Twins put together a 5-run 7th, and that hit that Sogard got driving in the last 2 runs turned out to be the game-winning hit. That's the thing, it took the game from 4-0, 6-0, and I'm sure a lot of viewers back home thought, well, big deal, right? But it turns out that hit in the, 4th inning? No, the 6th inning.
Yeah.
6th inning. That was the game-winning hit. That was the most important hit of the ball game, as it turned out, and we still had 3 innings to play.
Every pitch of every ball game is critical for somebody, and that's why you play the game.
Low now 3-0. They walked Moss and Norris in the first inning. And another 4-pitch walk to the number 9 batter. We'll bring up Coco Crisp. 33 pitches, just 16 strikes.
Third walk of the game. You really hate to see the number 9 hitter. We talked about Sogard. He's hitting well right now. hits in the first game. Big hit yesterday. Driving in 2. But he's still number 9 for a reason. You want to go after those guys.
Chris fouled out to Plouffe on the first pitch of Trevor May's big league career. He asked Bob Melvin today about May. He said, well, we've got some minor league numbers and some minor league scouting reports on him. We really won't know till we see him out there to see how he throws, what his preferred pitches are in situations. And one of the things, of course, they're looking at is his move to first, how quick he is to home plate. Fuld was the first base runner. And Fuld, of course, a base stealing threat. Drew a throw or 2 over to first. And so too Sogard.
Yeah, Sogard can run. Crisp can run. They've got some decent speed in this lineup.
On the outside corner.
More important than anything, though, Trevor May needs to get ahead in the count, pound the strike zone.
Pretty good spot right there.
Located that one down and away.
Two and 1.
Change up there, but he's leaving it up a little bit in the zone. He's got to finish it off. We talk about it all the time, how a changeup should always be on the outer half of the plate, and he was able to keep it away, but he just didn't finish it off out in front. The ball was left up in the zone.
The other pitching prospect the Twins acquired in a trade a year and a half ago, Alex Meyer, pitched in his home state of Indiana. Didn't fare too well tonight in Indianapolis. Couple innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs. Down low, and it's 3 and 1.
What young pitchers fail to realize also, I think, when they walk guys, Kyle Gibson was guilty a little bit of that last night, is that the more pitches a hitter sees, the more advantageous it is for him. They're going to track the ball, whether it's a strike or not. The more they see, the harder it is for you to get them out.
Back-to-back walks in the first, and now back-to-back walks in the second with 2 out. That'll bring up Sam Fuld. MLB news and notes. James Shields, his 9th career shutout, giving the Giants just 4 hits. Significant because the Tigers lost a heartbreaking ball game today to Toronto. They have also lost Joaquin Soria for a while. Joe Nathan blew a save, so now the Royals are just a game and a half out of first. Derek Jeter 6th on the all-time hit list. Matter at hand here. Trevor May trying to pitch around a pair of 2-out walks. Sam Fuld singled and scored in the first inning. Missing the outside corner. So far the A's have 2 hits and 4 walks against Trevor May.
Again, the changeup right there, same location, up in the zone. Trust me, you don't want a changeup to be left up high. You got to finish that ball out in front, pull your arm down through. He's just a little overexcited right now, and his focus isn't quite as sharp as it will be as he settles in.
3-0.
It's always an interesting time for a manager too when the kid makes his debut. You don't know what he's going to do. You don't know where he's going to be. You might have all the faith in the world in him, but they've got to go through it themselves. Gardy's showing a lot of patience right now. He needs to. It's giving him a little confidence. Rick Anderson going to come out and try to settle him down again. No activity yet in the Twins bullpen.
3 straight walks on, I believe, 13 pitches.
All the walks coming with 2 outs. We got Jed Lowry and Stephen Vogt to pop up quickly to start this inning, and then 3 straight walks.
Prior to this year, Trevor May pitched 2 years in Double-A, Reading with the Phillies organization, New Britain with the Twins organization, and pitched to an ERA of about 4.7, and walks were a concern. 300 innings pitched in those 2 seasons, and 145 walks. But this year, fewer walks, better control at that level, and some control issues here tonight.
I promise you, when baseball clubs are evaluating their prospects and they're considering them for a big league nod, control is one of the biggest concerns they have.
Pass Plouffe. Donaldson will drive in 2 runs. Jumping on the first pitch. And the A's take a 3-1 lead. One thing to take the walks, it's another to make the guy pay for them, and Donaldson did.
Well, the good teams have a knack of doing that. Josh Donaldson is a real good ball player, all-star third baseman.
Brandon Moss drew the first walk from Trevor May. Up high, ball 1. 44 pitches and just 18 strikes for May.
A lot of pitches up in the zone. Most of those being changeups. That is his go-to pitch, but he's got to command it down and away.
At the knees with a fastball. Yeah, I guess if you looked at the first 2 innings, you'd say he's missed low with a fastball and high with the off-speed stuff.
Yep.
One and one. To the inside corner. And even at that, the only pitch that he's shown he can throw for strikes. I guess in the first inning he threw a couple of breaking balls for strikes. But here in the second inning, it's been his fastball that he's relied on to throw strikes. 1-2 to the cleanup batter. Something up, and Moss tried to hit it over the fence. The changeup again.
Was another high changeup. Smart hitters will start recognizing your patterns. You've got to be careful about that. The bad thing is when you're a young pitcher, you're trusting a major league catcher, in this case Eric Fryer, to call the game because you don't really have a great knowledge of these hitters yourself. You've never faced them.
3-2.
They say you can't get into a pattern. It's something that the higher the level of competition that you play in, the better knowledge they have of you.
A big pinch here for Trevor May. Go. All back. So far, Mays faced 12 batters. He's retired only 4 of them, all on fly ball outs. Another 3-2. And another foul ball. The first inning ended on a fly ball double play. A short fly to left, Willingham with the catch and then the throw to Fryer. The first 2 outs came quickly here. Fly balls to right and center. Then walk single. Full count. Another 3-2 pitch coming to Brandon Moss. Popped up. Backing out of play. Fourth walk of the inning.
And finally, Rick Anderson's on the phone. He's already showing all the patience he can handle. Trying not to distract the pitcher and give him a vote of confidence, but at this point he's got to get somebody going in the bullpen.
And it has to be a distraction here too, because the bullpens are field level here. They're just right down the right field line.
Sam Deduno, the first one up. He's been the Twins' long man. Him and Anthony Swarzak. Swarzak pitched in last night's game.
Norris drew a bases loaded walk to tie the game in the first inning. Ball 1. They've already used the trip to the mound from the pitching coach.
Depending on how quick Sam Deduno gets warmed up, this could be the last hitter that he's going to be allowed to face.
Not coming close to the strike zone.
Especially if he walks him.
Fryer will go to the mound.
As bad as it looks, if he can get this out right here, this is still a game the Twins could come back in. You just can't let it go too far, and that's the dilemma that Ron Gardenhire and Rick Anderson are in. They're trying to show the kid a vote of confidence, but he's got to get people out.
2-0 to Norris. He's missing by plenty. 3-0. Norris got a run batted in with a bases loaded walk in the first.
And I think they're going to have Norris taking here, even though a base hit, a green light could really blow this thing open. You're missing that much, you've got to take a strike.
3-1. Debut, Trevor May has faced 14 men to this point and walked half of them.
7th walk.
Second bases loaded walk issued to Derek Norris, and now Reddick, the 9th man to bat. Again, the first 2 men were retired on fly balls. Reddick ended the first inning with a fly ball to Willingham and the throw to the plate that resulted in the double play. And he goes after the first pitch. He tried to do what Donaldson did successfully in the second. Figuring the guy's out there having problems, he's just going to throw a get-me-over fastball, and I'm going to cream it someplace, but he got a swing and a miss.
Coco Chris did it yesterday with a triple.
.60 pitches, 26 strikes. And now 1-2. Bases are full of A's. May with a 1-2 count to Reddick. Landed a couple feet in front of the plate. Another nice block by Fryer, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, he hasn't thrown too many breaking balls, and that might be part of the reason he's having trouble throwing it for strikes. Eric Fryer doing a real good job again of keeping that ball in front of him. Just can't allow any more damage.
On the ground, Dozier has it. And another long inning for Trevor May. He walks 5 men in the inning. He gives up 3 runs. Is presented by Century Link, your link to what's next. By Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealers today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Rick Anderson talking with Trevor May. Samuel DeDuno is continuing to warm up on the bullpen mound, so it certainly looks as if Trevor May's major league debut is behind him. Brian Dozier will lead off the third. Jeff Samardzija couldn't get any run support at all when he was with the Cubs. Has 4 early runs.
It's just a tough call if you're the manager and pitching coach. You want to let the kid go. You want to get his feet wet and give him a chance to kind of regroup. But you're playing against a team that is so good you can't keep spotting them extra runs and have any chance at all of getting back in the game.
One and one to Dozier. And now 2-1. Twins are down by 3, but they've had men on base against Samardzija. A couple of hits and a run scored in the first. Double and a walk in the second. Hits are actually even at 3 apiece. Dozier swings through, strike 2.
It'd be interesting to watch Jeff Samardzija now, see what he does with a little breathing room and a nice cushion of run support. 3-run lead to work with.
Three and 2. The rate we're going here tonight, it's a good thing that we started this game an hour earlier.
Oh, we're still getting home at the same time. It doesn't matter.
This game's an hour old already. We don't have an out in the 3rd inning. Full count to Dozier, leading off the Twins' 3rd. And he takes ball 4. Exactly how Samardzija wanted to start his first inning pitching with the lead. Coors Light cold hard fact. For the 25th time now, the A's have batted around. I guess the surprising thing is the Twins are 2nd in Major League Baseball in bat around innings. They nearly batted around twice against the White Sox on Sunday, scoring 9 runs. Twins had that 5-run 7th last night where they batted around. There's strike 1 to Trevor Plouffe. Plouffe drove in a run with a single his first time up. Gave the Twins a very brief 1-0 lead. 1-1. Came into this season with 558 innings pitched and an ERA of over 4 for the Cubs. And then started out pitching great for the Cubs for 2 months. There goes Dozier, and Norris's throw not fielded by Sogard, and Dozier will run to 3rd base. So a stolen base. Sogard should get charged with the error, I would think. Throw was late, but on target reasonably. And the Twins down by 3 runs, trying to make something happen, sending Dozier to 2nd.
Yeah, Sogard doing that ultimate mistake. You got to catch the ball first. He tried to quickly tag Dozier before the ball actually was caught in his glove. And Dozier quickly gets up and sees the ball is out on the grass, advances over to 3rd.
For Dozier, his 19th steal. Sogard is charged with the error. 2-1 to Plouffe. 2-2. Dozier now with 19 home runs and 19 stolen bases. And while his chances of having a 30-30 season aren't very good anymore, you can imagine him settling in at 25-25, and that's a pretty good year. Squirted foul behind Samuel Deduno.
We talk about situations all the time where the Twins have to improve. This is a situation right now. Trevor Plouffe has to get this run in. He's got several ways he can do it. A normal depth fly ball to the outfield to score Dozier. He runs well.
Bouncer to short.
Bouncer to short. Anything to the right side that isn't hit right at the first baseman.
Close pitch taken for ball 3.
But you get this run in, you're back within 2.
Full count. Dozier started the inning by taking a walk. Wow. Samardzija strikes out Plouffe on a pitch that was several inches off the plate. Samardzija lucky he didn't walk the first 2 men here in the 3rd inning.
Just a fastball away. You're right, it looked like it was off the plate, but Trevor just never got to it. Like he had opened up a little bit looking to pull that ball instead of shoot it up the middle or go to right.
Vargas will hit our Carsoup.com trivia question as a Twin. Which switch hitter has the most career home runs? believe it's Mr. Smalley. Could be Chili Davis. I was surprised when I did some research on that. I thought Butch Weininger would hit more home runs as a switch hitter than he did. And Vargas hit and will go to first. Hit on the right wrist or hand.
Now batting, number 16, Josh Willingham.
Why didn't that hurt him?
It had to have.
My goodness.
He's just not showing pain.
It got him right in the joint of the wrist and the hand. We've seen players buckle in pain, have to leave the ball game. Here's Willingham, and the Twins get the tying run to the plate in Willingham. Popped up short center. Sogard calling for it. Dozier bluffing a tag. 2 down.
That's just not going to get it done right there. These last 2 at bats. Trevor Plouffe striking out. Now Josh Willingham flying out to short. You've got an opportunity that you cannot let pass. And it's frustrating for everybody involved.
Number 27.
That'll leave this opportunity in the hands of Chris Parmelee, who ended up hitting a hot ground ball behind the first base bag. Moss was able to knock it down, pick it up, and find Samardzija at the bag for the out. The .098 batting average with runners in scoring position isn't great, but it's pretty good when you start out 0 for 28, which is what Chris did. Strike on the outside corner.
The concern is you get a guy like Samardzija, and he's not exactly been spot on as he starts this game, but you keep giving him chances to get out of things like this, and all of a sudden he gets it dialed in.
2 strikes.
He's got a live arm. You see the speed of that fastball, 96, and when he starts spotting it and then throwing that breaking ball, could make it tough. Twins got to take advantage of their opportunities.
Norris giving signs in front of the plate in the event Vargas takes off from first. If he does, the first sound you'll hear is me jumping out of the booth. He's not going anyplace, is he?
2 outs.
Popped up near second base. That ends it. Twins get a walk, a stolen base, a hit batter, leave 2 more aboard. They're down by 3. La Russa was honored here in Oakland presenting his Hall of Fame plaque from Cooperstown. And we're very happy to have the Hall of Fame manager with us here, along with Jack Morris, Dick Bramer. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. I would imagine a lot of emotions, not the least of which is relief that the speech is over with.
Yeah, you wish the speech was on Friday so you could enjoy Saturday, Sunday, because it's looming out there. And, I mean, it really concerns you because you got to do it right. So many people to thank. But what an amazing, amazing experience. The weekend is just overwhelming.
First batter for the A's is Jed Lowry. He'll be followed by Stephen Vogt and Eric Sogard. Samuel DeDuno, the new Twins pitcher, and he delivers ball one.
Tony, one of your world championships was attained right here as manager of the Oakland A's. I know that it's been a while since you've been a part of this organization, but it's got to be a good feeling to come back and get the round of applause that you had. You have to have had a lot of great memories right here.
You know, there's a lot of great memories, Jack, and there's a couple that really kind of mess with it. About 2 weeks ago, we had the 25-year anniversary of the '89 team, so just about everybody was here. That like Steiny wasn't here because he's working, and it was really good to see everybody. And the people, you know, we were really good there for a while. It was either us or the Twins won every year. But the thing that it haunts me is we're in 3 World Series and won one of them, and we had the best team. And believe me, I have blamed myself, kicked myself for years about those missed opportunities.
In 1988, of course, Kirk Gibson hits the big home run against Dennis Eckersley, and the Dodgers win that World Series. Had a chance to interview Terry Steinbach before the game today, specifically about the next year with the earthquake happening here against the Giants. And Terry said, you know, it was tough because everything else was going around and baseball almost seemed insignificant in this area. How did you as a manager get your guys focused to try to concentrate on the task at hand?
Well, it's a really good question because there was a lot of talk that we should stop and postpone the World Series, and there was a lot of guilt that was being dropped on the players for both teams. And the only thing that all of a sudden it just dawned on me something, there wasn't anything else that was entertainment, whether it was sports or the theater or musicals, that was being postponed. The only thing that they said shouldn't happen is baseball. So I told the guys, look, they're playing college football, pro football. You go to the movie. This is ridiculous. You know, we didn't cause it. In fact, they claimed that because of the time there was fewer cars on the bridge, so maybe we helped a little bit. But in the end, we had so few guys on that team had a ring that they said no matter how long the pause, we are going to be ready to play. And that team was so relentless about after getting beaten 88. They were on a mission, and we were peaking at the right time, and it was a great team.
That's what Terry said as much, too. He said there wasn't anything that was going to distract this team because of the disappointment of 88, that they were very, very focused in 89.
No, it was a very talented team, and they had their act together all year long, and they were peaking at the last one, which is why I mean, I can understand a little bit about 88 because, you know, Gibby beat Eck, and that's a big moment. And then they had Hershiser the next day.
Right.
But the one that burns the most is 90. When you get swept like we did, you know, we won 103 games. I just, honestly, I mean, my dad always said, don't ever fool yourself. I didn't think I got our club ready to play that World Series, and we mugged a chance to win 2 in a row.
Strikeout of Stephen Vogt. Eric Sogard will bat. He drew one of the now 8 walks Twins have issued here in the first 2 1/3 innings. Only 6 batters have been retired.
I was taking pictures, so I didn't realize 8 walks.
Yes. Young man Trevor May called up.
Major League
debut, and he had some issues.
I could see for him. He only got 3 hits, so that's how it happened.
So I can imagine over your managerial career you had some nervous rookie pitchers that had some similar issues.
Well, I tried to be calm and collected, but if there was one thing that I was vocal about was throw the ball at the plate. You know, hey, I don't care what you do. You got to put the ball in play. 7 times out of 10, the best hitter is hit it at somebody. But you know, I did understand how hard this game is, and you got to get your emotions in check. So that was understandable for a young guy to be overwhelmed.
2-0 to Sogard.
I said understandable and acceptable. Big difference.
Right. Hey, what did it? I mean, you're now working, running the show for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and we hope to see you in Minnesota in September when Arizona comes to Target Field. But your managerial career ended with a World Series title, and talk about going out on top. That must have been a nice way to cap off that great Hall of Fame career.
Well, it was really good fortune. I tried to say that in my speech in Cooperstown. I've been luckier than anybody. And I used my two good friends, Leland and Tom Kelly. We started about the same time. And if they had been where I was, I never had a bad day as a manager. Never had any problem with ownership, front office, players. So I tried to say how lucky I was. And one of them is 11. I did not quit on top. I was done, and it turned out that we won. And as we made the comeback and we got into the postseason, I just kept thinking, man, at least ending up with a good feeling, and kept riding the wave. And to win it and know that was the last days in uniform, it was like Fantasy Island. It was hard to imagine that it worked that way, but I'll take it.
3-1 to Duno, pitching to the number 9 batter who walked his first time up. And a strike. 3-2.
Tony, share with us a little bit. We had a conversation during the All-Star game where you were kind enough to come and talk to us for MLB.com. And we were talking about that burning desire to get back involved with the game. Talk a little bit about what you were doing after your managing was done with St. Louis and what you're doing now.
Well, I signed when I was a kid, 17 years old. So for 50 plus years, all I've ever known is wake up in the morning, you're with a team, and the excitement of playing the game, win or lose. So as soon as I retired, I was very fortunate because the commissioner in MLB gave me a chance to go to work, and so I stayed close to the game. But when you're neutral, it was so unnatural. So when I had this chance to come back with the Diamondbacks, I mean, literally the first morning that they were going to announce it, I woke up and I had that feeling in my gut, like right now. We were losing. Now we're winning 5-3. We got 6 outs to go to win the game, and that's
Sogards walked for the second time,
and that feels right. It just. I like the spirit of competition. So what they asked me to do was, it's kind of a new position, evaluate all the players and pitchers in the organization and evaluate them as to where you can see them playing championship baseball. So that's the players, and then evaluate the way the team is playing the game, whether it's the base run, the offense, the defense, the pitching. Over 50 years, I've been taught a lot, so I'm just going to share what I've been taught, and I'm excited to jump in there and do it.
18 plate appearances, 9 walks, 2 men on, 1 out, and Coco Crisp, who walked and scored his last time up, and Duno starts him with a breaking ball and strike 1.
The tough part about it, after playing a lot of games in this ballpark at night, is when you want to challenge guys, because it doesn't really carry real well, and you get away with some balls that hit on the barrel that don't go out of the park. So you really got those strikes anytime, but especially at night here.
Did you throw a strike today for the first pitch?
I threw a 95. It was 9 plus 5 equals 14 miles an hour. That's what Steiny told me. He says, "Holy smokes, eephus ball." My wife and kids were saying, "You going to throw for the mound?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to start on the mound." And start walking forward.
You started on the mound. You didn't lie to him. That was all good.
Yeah.
There's the guy that caught you right there, your former catcher.
How much did he mean, Terry Steinbach, to your championship years here?
Yeah, I was telling somebody earlier, the heart of our club, we had a lot of glamour. The heart of our club was how hard and tough we were competitively. Carney, Steiny as a young guy came right in. I know it was Minnesota roots, but he bought into just grinding out 9 innings every day, and he converted himself from third base to catcher, and was in 87, 88 was already a first-rate catcher. So I really think on that great group of hitters, he got as many big hits with men in scoring position, and then he developed into a catcher that really knew, he really worked at it. Of course, he had Rene Latchman and Dave Duncan.
Right.
But Terry was an important part. I mean, you saw where I hit him. I usually hit around, about this 6, something like that.
Right.
Because he could drive in a run, and he was not afraid to play big games, which is very important.
Coco Crisp with a 1-2 count. Duno has not allowed a ball to be put in play. 1 strikeout and 2 walks.
Well, Jack knows it too. A lot of times.
I'll show you what happened here earlier.
El Blooper.
They lined up for hours to get a bobblehead of the Hall of Fame manager.
I love this guy. I really do.
95.
Miles goes all over me too, by the way. I forget what I was saying. Oh, what was I saying?
Chris strikes out, 2 down, and that'll bring up Sam Fuld. You were talking about batting Steinbach 5th and 6th.
No, it was about the importance of mentoring.
Yes.
First of all, you got to have a young guy that comes up, doesn't have all the answers. Which Steiny didn't. Walt Wise got able. And then you got to have the proper mentor. You have somebody that is really a goof off and is not teaching the right thing. But we had guys like Carney. And Steiny really gravitated to Carney. I mean, he was like his little puppy. He would follow Well, that's a great guy because Carney is the most intense player I've ever been around.
Really?
Yes. So that mentoring, then later on as he got more experience and he became the teacher. See, so it's a great system.
DeDuno misses 1-0 to Fuld, who has singled and scored in the first, walked and scored in the second.
So I haven't given him a run this inning yet, right?
No, your ERA this inning is pretty good.
I know Kelly's.
I don't know about our time of game tonight might suffer again because of this third inning. We're already about an hour and a half into the ball game here, and we're in the bottom of the third inning.
We got a lot of dogs in the house. We may not be able to stay and watch the whole game. We can only be gone 5 hours at a time.
2-0 to Fuld. DeDuno in relief of Trevor May. 22 pitches, only 10 strikes.
You know how much I like this man now and disliked him then? Because I disliked, he wanted to beat you and he beat us. One of the great competitors and performers of our time.
Strike called, 2-1.
Well, we certainly had a lot of fun. At the time, it was serious business. We both can recognize that, acknowledge it. I think we both had the equal desire to win. And our teams were very competitive. But when it's all said and done, you look back, and I think all of us appreciate the time.
Old foul.
You know, one of the neat things, you know, it's how there are connections all over the place. So I'm in Arizona, and every day that I'm with the club, I see Gibby and Tram, and there probably isn't at least once that Sparky's name will get mentioned, because we're trying to make sure that the same culture of professionalism and competitiveness is what the Diamondbacks represent. And a lot of it is what Sparky taught you guys and what you guys took forward and other guys taught me, including Sparky taught me as well.
Parmalee to DeDuno, and a long bottom of the third ends with no further damage done. It is 4-1, and we thank Tony La Russa for stopping by for a half inning, and again, congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks, Tony. Hi, Jack.
Let's get caught up in what's been a long first 3 innings.
Well, quickly, Trevor Plouffe gets a base hit, scoring Brian Dozier. The Twins on the scoreboard first. Josh Donaldson delivers a base hit after a couple walks. Oakland regains the lead right there. Trevor May just had a tough go with strikes. His command wasn't sharp tonight. Ended up walking 7 guys, walking in a run right there. And short night, but his pitching coach is reassuring him that he's probably going to get another opportunity to go back out there and redeem himself.
Escobar on the first pitch chips a fly ball to Coco Crisp in center, and one very quick out here in the 4th. One down. That'll bring up Eric Fryer. Fryer's had a rather challenging night with the control issues at first May had, and then Deduno. I mean, there have been 9 walks already issued by the Twins in the first 3 innings.
You just can't win ball games with that kind of command.
1 strike. Fryer and then Schaefer. Twins have, well, they scored the game's first run, and then they've had threats. Some self-inflicted wounds by Samardzija. Strike 2. But you look up and he's thrown 64 pitches and 2/3 of them for strikes. So obviously he's done a much better job than Twins pitchers have of getting ahead. And down the right field line, Reddick with the catch, 2 down. That'll bring up Schaefer. Target Field suites are available for single game rental for groups of 16 to 96. You can choose from Premier Suites, the flexible event suites, the very spacious Skyline suites. Make coming to a Twins game an extra special experience by renting a private suite for an upcoming game. You can find out more by visiting twinsbaseball.com or by calling 800-33-TWINS. Here's Jordan Schaefer. Drew a walk, stole a base in the 2nd. Game was 1-1 at the time. Escobar had doubled. Schaefer drew a walk. And the Twins had runners at first and third with 2 out, but then Santana bounced out. And in the bottom of the 2nd, the A's got their 3 runs to take the lead. Down and in, 1-1. Is there a game or 2 that you remember against Tony La Russa that stand out? Anything eventful happen?
Well, there's one very eventful day when Tony was managing the White Sox on my no-hitter.
I forgot he was the manager of the White Sox, wasn't he?
We'll have to share that one a little later.
Schaefer retired a 1-2-3 4th inning. Stay tuned for this important message from Mesh Besher and Spence. were plated on bases loaded walks. Very short and disappointing start for Trevor May. Samuel DeDuno walked a couple but didn't give up any more runs in the third. Now he'll face Donaldson, Moss, and Norris. All right, you were going to talk about a memorable game. You're a no-hitter against the White Sox and Tony La Russa.
Yeah, I was with Detroit. It was the second game that I pitched that year in Chicago. Tony was the manager. I ended up having a great day. It's a lot of luck in my favor. We ended up winning the game, and I threw a no-hitter. And after the game, Tony literally came into our locker room with his uniform still on to congratulate me. And I thought that was a class act. I never experienced anything like that. And from that day on, I realized, as much of a competitor he is as he was, and at the time there was not a whole lot of love lost between him and our team, because we wouldn't hesitate in playing a little beanball war against each other. But right then and there, I knew that Tony was a special guy and that his passion was for the game itself. And, we've been pretty close ever since, and even closer now that he's retired from managing.
He retired with 2,728 wins, third all-time in baseball. 35 wins behind John McGraw. Plouffe gets the first hop and throws across. Donaldson retired, one away. Brandon Moss coming to the plate. Referenced it before. Tough day for the Tigers. They lost a tough ball game. Our Sanford Health injury report. Sanchez left the ball game last night. He's supposed to have an MRI, I believe, tomorrow. Joaquim Soria finished the 9th inning, went out for the 10th inning for warm-up tosses, and left with a left side strain.
I don't know what is going on in the game of baseball. These obliques and side strains and pectoral strains, all part of that.
DeDuno couldn't get it, but the Twins were shifting, and Moss is retired, 2 down.
Hit it right into the shift. Good play by Escobar.
Well, Twins hope to get to Joe Mauer, who's been out with an oblique strain perhaps as soon as Monday in Houston. Mauer playing again tonight in Cedar Rapids. And then it might be that the plan is to, assuming everything feels fine, Joe would spend tomorrow as a travel day, meet the team tomorrow night in Houston, and be ready to go as soon as Monday night. We'll see if that's how it plays out. Derek Norris has not, I don't believe, even swung the bat, and he's got 2 runs batted in because of 2 bases loaded walks. Ball 1.
He certainly hasn't had a whole lot to swing at. And now Samuel DeDuno starts him off with a breaking ball down and away.
Two and 0. It's a big day in Cooperstown when 3 of the top 5 winners as managers in Major League history, Joe Torre, Bobby Cox, Tony La Russa, all made up a part of a very impressive Hall of Fame induction class. Strike over the inside corner.
They will all tell you, as my former manager Sparky Anderson, who's also in the Hall of Fame, would tell you that without the players, they wouldn't be there. And yet they know how to position themselves to get players. And, there's so much behind it all. But great baseball people.
One hopper skipped to Escobar. He fires across, 3 ground ball outs and a 1-2-3-4 for DeDuno.
One here at the Coliseum in Oakland. Twins fans, don't forget at Twins home games, bring your Circle Me signs. And if you get circled, you may find yourself in the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle, where you could win $100 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets, courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery.
Dick Bramer, Jack Morris. Game 3 between the A's and the Twins. A lot has happened here. Not a whole lot of it's been good for the Twins. Trevor May issuing 7 walks.
I think the Twins are lucky this game isn't a complete blowout right now.
Yes.
They're still in this game. 3 runs is not something they can't overcome, and they just need to get base runners and start all over.
Santana 0 for 2. Jabbed at it, strike 1. One and one. Santana, Dozier, and Plouffe. Remarkable. Twins down by 3, and it's just, you know, the first couple innings were so wilting, and yet the hits are even at 3 apiece. That is a fair ball into the corner. Santana can fly. Cut off by Reddick, and Santana will hold up with a double. Very similar to the ball that Parmelee hit in the second inning, but this one found some room between Moss and the line.
Moss, a very good fielding first baseman, but that ball just squeaked by him, and once it did, you were just wondering, will it be a double or a triple? Danny Santana gets out of the box quick. He's watching the ball as it ricochets down in the corner a little bit, and you can see that he was kind of putting on the brakes as he looks over at Scott Ultra, the third base coach, and Scotty holds him up at second base for a leadoff double.
Now Dozier, who's doubled and walked. Outside, ball 1.
Dozier having a good day. First hit of this series for Brian. Back in the first inning, the only run the Twins scored.
Two and 0. We've talked all season long how the pitching hasn't been starting pitching hasn't been what the Twins expected, thought they had, need. But the situational hitting has been, I think, just as responsible for the Twins being where they are. They had a run pretty much conceded to them in the third inning, and they didn't get the run in, and now a leadoff double that they desperately need to take advantage of.
There's one word that just really resonates in my mind about how winning teams win and teams like the Twins don't. The Twins have shown promise in every category, but consistency, the word, being something that is very difficult, very, very difficult. This is a very difficult game, but the good teams have more consistency than the teams that don't. And I think it's true in all aspects of the Twins game. Offense, defense, pitching, bullpen. We've seen signs of much improvement in all of them, and yet the consistency isn't good enough to be competitive.
And we pointed out the flip side to that last night. 3-2 to Dozier, and a bouncer, Samardzija, bare hands it. That'll be reviewed, I think. Because from up here, it looked like Dozier beat it out. On the play,
Gardy
Santana goes to third. But last night we talked about that during the Sogard at bat. Here's the 9th place hitter on a first place ball club, and you just got the sense that it's going to be close, isn't it?
Yeah, closer than we thought it was. Dozier kind of took a high stride.
He's out. I think he is out.
I don't think it's convincing enough to overturn it.
And the thumbs down sign given. Dozier is retired on a nice play by Samardzija, 1 down. Bring up Plouffe.
Number 24.
That's got to feel good if you're an umpire. It's a bang bang play and you pick the right bang. Huh?
Yeah.
Inside. Lance Barrett's going, yeah, got it.
I think they're more relaxed today with that than they used to be. But they used to be able to argue and then throw the manager out of the game. They can't do that anymore.
Fouled back. Jim Joyce might be the best umpire in the game right now. And he could go into the Hall of Fame. But he will carry the missed call at first base on Galarraga's perfect game attempt. He'll take it to his grave. And he blew a call. And we see so many close plays at first. And don't we all wish, especially Jim Joyce, that we had replay 5 years ago when he had that memorable call. 2 strikes to Plouffe.
Well, we did have replay. The problem is it wasn't reviewed and being able to make a difference.
We had replay up in the TV booth. That's right.
And poor Jim Joyce got to see it later too and was almost in tears.
Well, here's Plouffe, and the A's are conceding the Twins another run. Infield playing back, 2 strikes to the batter. Trevor was up in this situation in the 3rd inning and struck out on a 3-2 pitch on a fastball that
Margie just tried to throw another one there. This one way up and away.
One and 2. And Trevor goes upstairs and gets a piece of a high fastball. So Marchand had a 1-2-3 4th inning. The Twins scored 1, left 1 in the 1st, left 2 men on in the 2nd, 2 men on in the 3rd. And now 2 and 2. And Plouffe is right where he was in his 3rd inning at bat.
Both these pitches that Samardzija has missed with, he has really opened up and overthrown the ball when he's under control. And so much of pitching and hitting is similar as far as your body control.
And a run will score on the ground ball to Lowry. 2 down. Coming in is Santana. It's 4-2. Let's check in with Marty Geldin.
Guys, Kenneth Vargas is coming to the plate now. He scalded 2 baseballs yesterday. One was hit to A's 3rd baseman Josh Donaldson, who told me today that was by far the hardest baseball ever hit to him. He said he was trying to hang in there as long as he could, and after it went by, he said, I was just thankful I was still alive and thankful everything was still intact. And there's a device in the ballpark here called TrackMan that measures the velocity of baseballs. They recorded the speed at 118 miles per hour, and that ball hit to Donaldson. That's the 9th hardest ball they've measured. The other one that he hit to Jed Lowry at second, 120 miles an hour. The fastest, the hardest hit ball in the 2 years that they've been measuring them.
1-0, and a ball lifted foul and out.
So you want to be a pitcher, do you? And you can release the ball about, I don't know, 83 feet away from that.
Lowry was lucky he survived that one, and then that one actually looked like it went through Donaldson.
Get in front of it.
Ouch. And a little good break for Vargas as he has the bat shattering in his hands, splintering in his hands, and the ball on the last top looked like it hit the edge of the grass and kicked foul.
Brandon Moss just couldn't get to it quick enough, and I think you're absolutely right. It looked to me like it hit that little division where the grass ends and the dirt starts on the base path there, and just took a right turn.
1-2 to Kenny Vargas, hit by a pitch his last time up. Fouled away. A's put a pull shift on for Vargas. Nobody is happier about that than Donaldson, the third baseman, who now is about 160 feet from home plate.
He feels like he's playing in left field compared to where he normally plays at third base.
1-2. Now 2-2. Well, the Twins get a run thanks to a leadoff double.
The other day during batting practice, Vargas was practicing just bunting it to the left side in this situation. I know the Twins don't want him to ever do that, but it's nice to know that he could if he had to.
There's a chopper hit toward Donaldson. And Vargas will reach on a low throw. If it's an error, it's Donaldson's 20th of the year. If it's a hit, it'll be an infield hit for Vargas.
It's an error.
20 errors for Donaldson, who Bob Melvin said again this afternoon the play he made on the double play grounder might have been the turning point of the game last night. Plenty of time to throw, and then he threw one low. Moss was lucky to get any glove on that at all. The ball had gone by him. Vargas would have had at least second base. Here's Willingham. Strike one.
As a pitcher, you can read hitters. You can see how they approach a certain pitch. If I'm Samardzija, I'm throwing another one there. He was not ready for that fastball at all.
Check swing and strike two.
Sometimes you're doing hitters a favor by throwing them a breaking ball because you speed up their bat. There's no way that Willingham was going to catch up to that first pitch fastball.
Struck out on a 96-mile-per-hour fastball in the first. Popped up on the first pitch he saw in the third. 96 up and away. Another strikeout for Willingham. One for the Twins and one left on. It's 4-2. Our Diet Dew fan of the game, a Twins fan, hoping that Twins can overcome a very rough start by Trevor May. Samuel DeDuno has pitched a couple of scoreless innings. Now pitching to the A's in the fifth inning in a 4-2 ball game. Scoring change from the last half inning. Give Vargas an infield hit now in the fifth. Take the error away from Donaldson. Duno with 35 pitches and only 18 strikes, and that was an improvement over Trevor May and his struggles when he walked 7 men. Strike at the knees.
Well, we mentioned it an inning ago, and it's even more true now. As ugly as the first 2 innings were, the Twins are right in this ball game.
And Reddick with a bunt up the line. Plouffe had just left there. He stayed at a conventional third base position until the second strike. And with 2 strikes, Reddick dropped down a bunt for a leadoff single. Pretty smart play. Fox Sports Supports is proud to support Stand Up to Cancer's 4th annual star-studded telecast. You can catch the fundraiser featuring music performances and stars from film, TV, and sports in a momentous and inspiring stand against cancer September 5th at 7 Central on Fox Sports 2. Here's Lowry, 0 for 1 with a walk. Strike at the knees. Again, the Twins were lined up in a bit of a pull shift for Reddick. And with 2 strikes, it was a full-fledged shift with Plouffe standing about where Escobar is standing now. And Reddick saw that, figured with 2 strikes, all I have to do is bunt it in fair territory, and he did.
You have to have confidence in your ability to be able to bunt the ball. Obviously, just Josh Reddick.
There you see Plouffe
moving right there. And Reddick saw it also. It's a great bunt.
Nobody home. 2 strikes to Lowry. And a called third strike, 1 away. Duno hasn't pitched much because the Twins haven't had too many short starts before tonight.
Breaking ball just freezes Lowry there, and he knew it.
Duno with only 3 innings pitched since July 24th. 1 inning in Kansas City, 2 in Chicago. That ball thrown away. That might have gotten Ty Waller. Running to second is Reddick, and he'll hold up there. Parmalee throwing back toward third base. An errant pickoff toss. Sending Reddick into scoring position.
There'll be an error on the pitcher, Duno.
Waller went down like there was a sniper here. Like Parmalee deflected it toward the first base coach. And as a first baseman, you really have to hustle after it here because of the expansive foul territory. I've seen many runners over the years go from first to third on a bad throw to first, whether it's from the mound or from the infield. Deep to right. And Vogt has hit his 2nd home run of this series.
Chili Davis giving Stephen Vogt a very big vote of confidence, talking about what a smart hitter he is. Knowing how to read a pitcher and understand what pitch you might get in a certain situation. He was just sitting on that pitch right there and did not miss it. Another breaking ball that, quite honestly, wasn't that terrible of a pitch, but when you're looking away and you're as strong as Stephen Vogt, you're able to throw that bat head out there, extend your arms, and deliver 2 more runs for the Oakland A's.
Here's Eric Sogard, ball 1. Home run set up, I guess, by the 2-strike bunt single by Reddick. 1-0 to to Sogard, the number 9 batter who's already walked twice. One and one. And in the dirt, 2 and 1. Duno walked a couple but pitched a scoreless third. And 3 relatively quick ground ball outs in the 4th. The bunt single, the error, 2-run home run, and it's 6-2. 3 and 1. All you need to know about tonight. Eric Sogard's hitting .215, batting 9th for the A's, and the Twins have walked him 3 times.
3 walks now for Samuel Duno. Nothing cooking in the Twins bullpen. Gardy's got to get an inning or 2 out of Duno. He doesn't want to burn up the pen for tomorrow. Phil Hughes on the mound for the Twins. Hopefully that will be all we need, is Phil Hughes to dominate a game. Right now, this has all been gifts from the Twins pitching staff. So many walks.
10 of them. Three of the free passes have come around to score. Another run scored on a bases loaded walk in the first. 1 strike to Crisp. Twins are trying to get out of last place, and the White Sox seem eminently passable. Twins haven't taken advantage of it now, having lost 3 straight. But the Twins on the bottom of what is now the closest division race of the 6 divisions. The Royals are within a game and a half of the Tigers, and that's the smallest lead for any of the 6 division leaders. Swing and a miss. 1 and 2. The Indians a game below 500, but they've got an ace. His name is Corey Kluber, and if he continues to pitch in the last 7 weeks the way he has, he's going to get some Cy Young votes. He 3-hit the New York Yankees today. Down and in, 2 and 2. So the Cleveland ace isn't Jimenez or Masterson or Kazmir as it was last year. It's somebody completely different. Corey Kluber might be the best right-handed pitcher in the league right now.
You got Bauer too.
Yeah.
Another good young arm. That's why they're able to get rid of a few of the veteran pitchers.
3 and 2 to Duno. From Duno. There's only 1 out here.
A lot of standing around by the defense for the Twins.
I thought Tony La Russa had some great pitching staff. Even in Chicago, Lamar Hoyt and Rich Dotson, Rick Burns. He had some pretty good pitchers in his early days. Runner takes off. It's a called strike. Friars throw. Not in time. It'll be 3 and 2 to Crisp. But I beg your pardon, he struck out Crisp. 2 down. 2 strikeouts in the inning. But I thought when I asked Tony about that when he was visiting with us, he rather sternly and tersely said he really, summarizing him, he really didn't have any sympathy for any young pitcher. You got to be able to throw the pitch over the plate 7 times out of 10. You've got to do it. It's tough, you know, and everybody understands nervousness and all that, but you got to throw it over the plate. This is the big leagues.
I have a belief that managers either like or dislike pitchers.
Okay.
Now, I think all managers in time appreciate pitchers. They understand the meaning of the game. But I think inherently some guys just don't care for them, and other guys, it's all about them.
Okay.
And I don't know if Tony would ever answer either one of us, honestly, but I don't think he really cared too much for pitchers.
Really?
I really don't. He wanted them to do their job, and that was it.
High hop to Parmalee, and he'll go to the bag to end the inning. Stephen Vogt with a 2-run home run, and the A's have pushed the lead out to 6-2. Here's a look at the AT&T fan photo of the game. You can tweet your photo to #NorthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in a game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Now that looks like a real tattoo there.
Well,
rather than one of the.
Is that a tattoo or is that a baseball bat?
I thought it was a tattoo. Here's Parmalee taking a ball.
We've been informed that it was a tattoo.
Not one of those, moisten and stick it on your arm.
No, that's the legit thing right there. That one hurt.
Parmalee, Escobar, and Fryer facing Samardzija, who's not been his sharpest tonight. Strike called 1-1. All right, you were expounding on Tony La Russa, who you said you felt, with all due respect, that he didn't like pitchers.
Well, he had one of the greatest pitching coaches of modern era, Dave Duncan, as his pitching coach. So I think he allowed Dunk to take care of all that. And he was just there to manage the game as managers do in game time situations, doing what his gut feeling. He always would respect Duncan's opinion on whether he should pull a guy or not, but there were times where he just didn't have the patience that other managers would have.
Parmalee to the gap in right center field. He's got a hit. He'll try to make it a double.
Whoop.
No, he won't. He will hustle back to first. Reddick had to reach high for the first hop and got rid of it quickly. And given the score, Parmalee probably made the right choice by reversing field, even though he stopped halfway between first and second.
Now, if you know in your heart you can't get there and you're going to create a first out with a base hit, absolutely Chris Parmalee did the right thing. Just whoops, I'm going to go back and I'll take a base hit.
And now Escobar. This really hurts. The Twins are down by 4 runs. They're out hitting the A's 6-5. Here's Escobar. He has one of the hits, a double his first time up. All right, your guy, Sparky Anderson.
Well, he had a reputation when he was manager of the Big Red Machine. Captain Hook was the nickname everybody gave him. And I don't think at that particular time, number one, he didn't have great pitchers.
Right.
Not that he ever did, but he had a great team. Those guys could mash.
And all the guys in the Hall of Fame from those Big Red Machine days were hitters.
Right. Rose being the exception, not in the Hall, but
Morgan, Perez,
Bench, all those guys could mash. So when Sparky became the manager of the Tigers, that reputation followed him. I think things changed when he managed the Tigers, though. I think he realized in the American League anyway, because of double switches and all that, pitchers had to go deeper into games. You have the designated hitter. And I think somewhere in his early years with Detroit, he changed that attitude. And I know for a fact that it was all about pitchers for him.
Ooh, scored a foul.
As his years wound down in Detroit, he would literally have team meetings and talk about how there's one guy that gets in the box score after the game, he gets a W or an L, and the rest of you guys, you don't get any of that. So let's win the game and let's do things for the pitcher. So, it's a whole different mindset. Tom Kelly was a manager, in my opinion, that I think, and trust me, all these guys appreciate pitchers, but I think maybe because none of them were pitchers, they had a tougher time understanding how tough it is sometimes.
Escobar strikes out, one down. It's not too late to join the Twins season ticket family. In 2014, even a partial plan holder now gets all the benefits of a season ticket holder for the balance of the season. And you can visit twinsbaseball.com or call 800-33-TWINS.
Let me finish up on Tom Kelly. It's just it's a way that you address the team at times that I think gives me that sense anyway. Tom Kelly's philosophy was pitchers get out there, throw strikes, and get the guys off the field. You don't want them out there standing around. We can't score runs unless we're in the dugout. Well, I buy into that. That's a great philosophy. It's all the same message, really. It's just that, the way you address the team, you get these vibes. And I guess, I don't know. I mean, if we had them all standing here right now and they could give their opinion, I might be wrong in all three cases. But that's just what I sense from the three different gentlemen.
Well, it's interesting that been a long-held belief that pitchers don't make very good managers. In history, there haven't been many great pitchers who've later become good managers. John Farrell right now might be the only former pitcher who's a major league manager. Whether there's any substance to that theory.
Bud Black.
Bud Black, there you go. Yeah, we just saw him
San Diego
at Target Field, right.
More and more catchers. Catchers seem to be the perfect guy to be a manager. Mike Redmond, former Twin catcher.
Fryer swings and misses, 1-2. Tony La Russa was a catcher. Bob Melvin. Ed Yost.
Bobby was my catcher for a short period of time in Detroit.
Okay.
It's funny when I look back, all the people that I know that have either coaching or executive jobs in the game, I'm not sure I would have ever guessed any of them.
Fryer strikes out, 2 down. That'll bring up Schaefer.
Take another look at this pitch from Samardzija. It can't square up down the middle any better than that.
Number 1, Jordan Davis.
Last 3 outs have come on strikeouts. Samardzija had only struck out 2 men prior to that little strikeout streak he's put together here in the middle innings. Jordan Schaefer walked, stole second, and then hit a ground ball to first. Brad Ausmus, Joe Girardi, another pair of managers who were catchers in the big leagues. Mike Matheny of the Cardinals. A strike.
Maybe it's because they had to deal with these knuckleheads called pitchers, number one, so they have a better understanding of those guys, and the whole game is in front of them. But for whatever reason, for many years, it's not just current managers. A lot of baseball managers over the years have been former catchers.
from memory, Bobby Cox, I believe, was an outfielder, but La Russa, Joe Torre, of course, were catchers. Torre later finished at third base. One strike to Schaefer. Driven to the right field corner. Parmalee rounds second. On his way to third. And Schaefer has a double. And Parmalee's inability to lead off the inning with a double, again, it was probably the right choice, has kept this double from scoring him. The Twins have 2 runners in scoring position, and that'll bring up Danny Santana.
Number 39.
Fastball in. Jordan Schaefer just drops the bat head, and he can run, but Parmalee just chugging around second base has got to be held up at third. Schaefer could have had an opportunity maybe to try to get a triple there.
Here's Santana, a double and a run scored his last time up, and a chopper. Foul, 1 strike.
Brandon Moss, the first baseman, now with 2 outs, is going to take a step closer to the line. The double that Santana hit back in the 5th inning just shot right past him down the right field line.
Wins 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Dan Otero, right-hander, warming up in the Oakland bullpen.
Line to the first baseman, Moss. Danny Santana's hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. He has only 1 hit, and the Twins leave 2 more aboard in the 6th. Baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Toyota. The annual clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's, where a French vanilla McCafe iced coffee is just $1.59 all summer long. Samuel DeDuno out there for his 4th inning of work. Misses ball 1. 56 pitches for DeDuno, only 30 strikes. 3 walks allowed, 2 hits, including a 2-run home run in the 5th. Just joined us. Trevor May made his major league debut. He had major control issues, facing 15 men and walking 7. 2-1. Donaldson, Moss, and Norris will hit. Two and two. Chance to talk with Donaldson before the game today, and he was so impressed with his all-star experience at Target Field and in the Twin Cities, his first all-star game. And he just sat back and tried to soak it all in. Capper foul.
You know, it's the ultimate bucket list.
Well,
day one of the when you get drafted, day one is you get to the big leagues. So when you get called up and you play your first game in the big leagues, that's part of the bucket list. The next one might be someday making an all-star team, and ultimately the biggest one in the bucket list is winning a World Series ring.
2-2 to Donaldson. And DeDuno hit him. And the leadoff man is on here in the sixth. That'll bring up Brandon Moss. Get right in the back pocket. Now on FoxSportsNorth.com, you can view a photo gallery of this series with the A's and read more about power hitting Kenny Vargas, and check out the latest top tweets from Minnesota area athletes. Brandon Moss will hit. He's walked twice and bounced to short. To the right field corner, base hit. And Donaldson checks in at second. That'll bring up Norris, who has walked twice, driven in 2 runs with those walks, and bounced to short. Talked to Norris, too, about his all-star experience. He said Minnesota's is his favorite place to visit as a visiting ball player. He loves the ballpark, Target Field. They had 6 all-stars representing the A's. Samardzija representing the Cubs, but he was property of the A's. And Lester was still with the Boston Red Sox, so there were 8 current members of this A's team.
That might be a record.
That were there.
We interviewed Sean Doolittle, the closer, at the All-Star game, and he was certainly elated to be a part of it, just loving the experience. How can you not?
Shot foul in Derek Norris's case. He shows up at an all-star game, as so many of the A's players did, anonymously. I mean, people around the country. It's different now than it used to be, but I think this is a team that needs a stage to play on. You know what I mean? I mean, these guys are
what you're
really
good. Saying is there's still not a lot of household names on this team.
Here's a deep drive to left. And DeDuno's given up his second home run, this time with 2 men on base.
Ryan Presley's been throwing for a while now in the Twins bullpen. It's just turning into an ugly night for the Twins.
Very little doubt about that ball. It was really tattooed. And a few more hits like that, and if they can get hits like that in October, they're all going to become household names here pretty quickly.
You look up in the left field corner in the A's dynasty years, 72, 3 and 4, back-to-back world champion teams. They at one time weren't exactly household names either, but a lot of them became that.
That's the point I eventually was going to get to it. Long about that time in 1970, when the Twins won the division, No one knew who Joe Rudy, Sal Bando, people might have heard of Reggie Jackson a little bit. Gene Tennyson, all those guys, and then they won 3 straight World Series. 2-0. And a strike.
I find it interesting for Tony to talk about the '89 and then the team that he thought should have won it in back-to-back years. And I'm sure that does eat away at him. If you feel like you have the best team and you didn't win, I know what that feeling's like.
I mentioned the interview I did with Terry Steinbach. It'll be part of our pregame show tomorrow. But I asked him that question, and I won't give away the answer. But you get to the World Series 3 years in a row. Obviously, you're the best team in your league, and you only win the World Series once. And Terry had some interesting thoughts about that. And that period of time. Here's the ball hit to center. That'll chase Santana back. Off the wall. And Reddick has his second hit. And Duduno's getting tattooed here in the 6th.
Here comes Gardy.
Duduno picked up the game in the 3rd inning. A scoreless 3rd, a scoreless 4th, 2 runs in the 5th, 3 quick ones here in the 6th. And Presley will come in with a runner at second and nobody out.
Ryan Presley last pitched in the first game of this series, allowing 1 walk and 1 inning of work. So he'll be asked to come in right now and try to stop the bleeding. Oakland just blowing this game out with the home run by Derek Norris.
Nobody out. Lowry is 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike 1. I beg your pardon. Ball 1. To right and hit well. And a nice running catch by Schaefer. He better hurry and get it in. Running and tagging from second to third is Reddick, and if he hadn't gotten rid of it quickly, Reddick would have had a chance to maybe even score. But a line drive out, first out of the 6th inning.
Just watch Jordan Schaefer tracking this ball. Good focus. He knows that the warning track's underneath his feet, that the wall's coming up quickly, but he still concentrates, takes a leap, gets the ball in the glove.
Stephen Vogt, Twins bringing the infield halfway in here. right field.
They love Vogt.
Did you ever play winter ball? I mean, they've got this chant, the World Cup soccer chant. I believe in Stephen Vogt. I believe in Stephen Vogt. And it almost sounds, from what I've heard, some things that might happen down in the Latin American country.
Yeah, I played 1 year in Maguez, Puerto Rico, and it was a great experience. I would recommend it to all young major leaguers who just need extra work for any reason. It certainly turned my career around, but the environment was something special. You'll never forget it. And the fans are just joyful people. That's all I can say.
Marlins scoops up the ground ball. 2 down. Sogard will hit or walk, as the case may be. If you need to replace the old flip-flops you've been wearing this summer, the Twins will help you out. Just be among the first 10,000 fans at the game Wednesday, August 20th, when the Twins take on the Indians. It's Fan Flip-Flop Night, presented by the Beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. Call 800-33-TWINS or twinsbaseball.com. Get your tickets. 2 down. Presley's done his job and done it rather quickly. Here's Sogard. He has walked 3 times. Ball 1. Walked and scored in the 2nd. Walked in the 3rd and again in the 5th. Trevor May walked him once. DeDuno walked him twice. 2-0. Ever seen a number 9 batter get walked 4 times?
I'm sure it's happened. It's just so rare.
To my knowledge, the man hasn't swung the bat. Hasn't had to. Unbelievable. Stephen Vogt drawing his 4th walk of the evening. I'm sorry, Eric Sogard.
Number 9 hitter, and that does not happen very often, and it shouldn't. It's the one guy in the lineup that is down there, number 9, for a reason.
195 at bats, and only 21 walks coming into tonight, and 4 more counting tonight. Here's Crisp. Strike 1. Crisp walk is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. One and one. One and two.
Just looking at my scoreboard, which is not a pretty scoreboard, by the way. If this continues this way, there's going to be a few guys get 7 at bats in this game in a 9-inning game.
And Chris strikes out for the 3rd straight time. Derek Norris's 3-run home run against Samuel DeDuno makes it 9-2. story of the game, and it kind of spun out of control right after the top of the first.
The Twins, believe it or not, did have the early lead. Trevor Plouffe's base hit up the middle, but then it's been all Oakland ever since Stephen Vogt with a big home run. And Derek Norris just crushes this ball and admires the heck out of it as it flies into that fan's hands. A 3-run shot in the 6th inning. New score 9-2 Oakland.
New pitcher, Dan Otero for the Oakland A's.
Bullpen for the A's have been outstanding. This guy, one of those pitchers who just throws strikes, gets it over, gets outs quickly.
Dozier with a double and a run scored, a walk and a comebacker. Actually not a comebacker. Samardzija had to make a good play, bouncing off the mound on his chopper between the mound and the third baseline. It was a close play. The Twins thought about challenging it. It accomplished one thing. It got Santana to third base, and then Santana scored on Plouffe's ground ball. And it was a 4-2 ball game at that point. Fouled away. That's pretty good to go the equivalent of more than 3 whole games without allowing a run. Bob Melvin saying the other day that Dozier taking a call, 3rd strike, 1 down. It's the best bullpen he has had in Oakland. A little frustration for Dozier. He thought it was outside.
Number 24, Trevor Plouffe.
Not sure it was outside, but I think Brian Dozier thought it was high.
Here's Plouffe. Plouffe with an RBI single in the 1st, an RBI ground out in the 5th. He also struck out with a runner at 3rd and nobody out. The infield playing back in the 3rd. And a liner to second, 2 down. Sogard there for the catch. Catch every strikeout, every game ender, and every history-making moment on MLB Whip Around weeknights at 9 p.m. Central on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. That'll bring up Vargas. Down and in, ball 1. Vargas reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st, hit by a pitch in the 3rd, and then he hit a little chopper between the mound and third base. Donaldson picked it up through low, and eventually Vargas was given credit for a hit. And he drives a vicious line drive that gets out to the warning track area in right field in a hurry. Reddick cutting the ball off, and Vargas has his 2nd hit.
It's just good to see Kenny Vargas just going about his business. This is a relatively ugly game for the Twins, but they've still got to do what they can to impress, especially the younger guys, and Vargas continues to do that. We talked about Danny Santana's hit the ball hard 4 times, got a double back in the 5th.
Ball 1. Willingham with 2 strikeouts. Samardzija got him 96-mile-per-hour fastballs up, both in the 1st inning and in the 5th. Drilled single to left. 1st and 2nd, 2 down. This was the inning where the Twins got some 2-out hits and scored 5 runs last night. They were down 6-0 at the time, made a game of it. Now they're down by 7 runs. Chris Parmelee drove one toward the gap in right center field. 9 hits for the Twins, Oakland, but Oakland has a couple of home runs. A 2-run home run and a 3-run home run. That's a check swing. And Willingham holds up at first. Vargas goes to third. I think Willingham thought it was a foul ball.
I think you're right. I think Josh just got mixed up. Thought he heard that maybe there was a foul tip. The sound that you hear is the catcher's glove.
Yep. So rule a passed ball on Norris. And now 1-1. Part of the 9 runs that the A's have scored. Norris's 3-run home run. Twins are going to need something like that at some point, just not in this at bat. 1 unassisted. Otero ends the inning, and the Twins leave 2 men on again. They've left 10 men on tonight.
Oakland up 9-2 over the Twins. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Can't imagine that there's going to be much demand to disseminate this tonight.
Hopefully there's not a whole lot of demand to reproduce.
Sam
in
Foley.
any form.
Not in black and white, not in color, not in a charcoal sketch. This has been a bad night.
But with a couple at bats remaining, you never know.
Sam Fuld scored a couple of runs early in the ball game, lifting it foul and out of play 1-2. Fuld, Donaldson, and Moss facing Ryan Presley. You know what has happened during this losing streak against Oakland? It's not just the consecutive losses, but the bludgeoning that has occurred during this losing streak. I mean, there have been more games like this than the other night when it was 3-0. Home foul again.
It's just not even that either. I mean, you look at the team records. Oakland's got 20 wins, maybe 21 after tonight. More wins than the Twins do.
Right.
And that's significant.
One and two to Fold, leading off the Oakland seventh. Another foul ball. I don't know that anyone other than Coco Crisp has swung and missed at a pitch tonight. And now Fold has, he strikes out. Presley struck out Crisp and the sixth, and now a strikeout of Fold with that breaking ball to start the seventh.
Good over-the-top breaking ball that really takes a bite at the end. Ends up in the dirt. Sam Fold couldn't lay off of it.
Donaldson, a double, was thrown out trying to score in the first inning. A two-run single in the second, hit by a pitch and scored in the sixth. Hit to right. A one-out single for Donaldson here in the seventh. And that'll bring up Brandon Moss. But first, our Carsoup.com trivia question: which switch hitter has the most career home runs? I'm going Roy Smalley. How about you?
I'll take Chili. Let's just figure that one out. It's our guy here at Fox Sports North.
110 home runs for Smalley. Chili hit 29 of those in his first year with the Twins, and something happened. Not sure even Chili knows what. He only hit 12 in 92.
Chili played a lot shorter time with the Twins than Roy did.
Right. But going back to that 1991 team, Twins went 4 for 4, I always thought, with bringing guys in to help a last place ball club. You to help stabilize and anchor the rotation. Chili Davis to give them some pop in the DH spot. Mike Pagliarulo to platoon with Scott Leyes at third base. And the one that people tend to forget is Steve Bedrosian. But Bedrosian had a good year that year. Not as a closer in his best years. He was a really good closer with the Braves. But Bedrosian that year won 5 ball games, pitched the modest ERA, but 70 hits, 77 in a third innings.
In his case, more importantly than the numbers, I think, was his contribution to the team.
He got 6 saves that year when Rick Aguilera had been overused. Moss strikes out, 2 down.
Third strikeout for Ryan Presley.
Now batting the catcher, number 36.
See, Presley's mix can create some swings and misses. A high fastball that's got some giddy up on it, and then a curveball that goes from the belt down to the dirt. 2 down, and now Derek Norris. When were you convinced that you had something special in 1991? I think you referenced it the other day, but I'll just directly ask you the question. When did you know that this 1991 Twins team was going to be good?
In 1990. The last year I had to try to get them out. I knew how good they had become, Puckett's and Herbecks. You know, those were guys that I had my way with for quite a few years when they were young. But quite honestly, it was in spring training when they got Chili. Pags came over, and we just, you know, we didn't have a great start to our season. All of us were pressing a little bit. We had a kind of a meeting of the minds. A lot of us got together team-wise.
Remember what, a 3-9 start or something like that?
It was.
Norris, what he did in his last at bat. And then Reddick followed with a double, and that was the end of the night for Samuel Deduno. He's charged with 5 earned runs on 2 long home runs. And a good inning for Ryan Presley. He strikes out the side, and on this particular night, the Twins will take that all night long. So good for so long, and to climb that high after that terrible ankle injury a couple of years ago, really remarkable. It's going to be different facing the Yankees without him. Eduardo Escobar facing Dan Otero, leading off the 8th inning. Outside, ball 1. Escobar with a double in the second. Since then, a fly ball and a strikeout. 2-0. You wonder whether Bob Melvin might let Otero pick up one of those rare 3-inning saves. Lester pitched a complete game here 2 nights ago. Kazmir looked like he was ready to do just that, and then ran into trouble in the 7th. So it instead might be a situation where the Oakland bullpen simply needs some work. And Escobar with another hit. This one's going to run to the wall. He's got another extra base hit. And a pair of doubles for Eduardo Escobar. That'll bring up Eric Fryer.
Good at bat right there for Eduardo.
Number 26, Eric Fryer.
See the pitch. Breaking ball away. Just throws the bat head. Keeps that head still. Always important.
I'm so happy for Escobar. This has been a bad couple of months for the Twins, but Escobar has had a chance to play every day at his preferred position. And while he hasn't made many spectacular plays, he's made the routine plays, and he's plateaued. His batting average has in the 270 range, which is quite acceptable.
Absolutely. I think if you took a survey amongst all Twins players, they would probably vote him the happiest. He had that reputation in Chicago. Great teammate. They loved him there. And that's continued on here with the Twins uniform on. He enjoys the game, plays hard, and he's had a very good year.
You remember at the start of the year when Pedro Florimon had such a tough time getting on track, whether it had anything to do with his appendix attack in spring training, setting him back, or whatever the reason was. You know, the Twins have gotten some offensive production from Escobar. Ground ball hit to short, and Escobar plays it safely, smartly, stays at second, one down. I mean, we're not used to getting that kind of production. Twins fans haven't gotten that type of production from shortstop in quite some time.
Number 1,
Jordan Schaefer has a walk and a double tonight.
Of all the shortstops in the last decade, the one that probably eats away at them more than anybody is J.J. Hardy. You know, a guy that really came into his own after he left the Twins and went to Baltimore.
Schaefer checks his swing, takes a strike. The Twins have tried so many different players, trying to find somebody that would stabilize that position. And we expect, again, sometime on this road trip, Danny Santana will get an opportunity to play there. And Schaefer with another well-hit ball. This one hit to the gap. It'll score Escobar. And Schaefer goes to second with an RBI double.
His second double of the game.
Twins with 4 hits in 8 at-bats against Otero.
Number 39.
And they've all been hit sharply. Both Vargas and Willingham's singles were hit right on the button in the 7th, and both doubles have been hit crisply here in the 8th. And now Santana. He's hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. Outside ball 1. Started the game falling behind 0-2, and he hit a liner to Crisp in right center. And he hooked a double down the right field line, then lined out to first baseman Moss in the 6th. That shaves the corner, 1-1. And he nearly hooked another double with Moss guarding the line behind the first base bag. Santana nearly hooked one right over the first base bag down to the Twins bullpen area.
First base umpire Lance Barnett standing right there on the line, was able to determine that ball went into foul territory before the bag.
2-2.
Anthony Swarzak thrown in the Twins pen, so he'll probably get the 8th inning.
The at-bats starting to mount for Santana. 4 at-bats tonight, now 216 on the year. You can imagine, barring injury, and that's really been the only thing that's kept him from having over 300 at-bats this year, the helmet cut that he suffered above his eye in New York, and then the bone bruise in July. 2-2. Foul back. You can imagine that if he stays healthy, he'll have 350 at-bats this year.
He plays every day, and there's no reason other than injury, like you mentioned, that would prevent him from not playing the rest of the year.
Two and 2 to Santana. Twins have a whole bunch of doubles today. Schaefer with a double. Driving in Escobar, who had doubled. Taken low, 3 and 2. Twins in danger of losing their 4th straight game after winning 3 straight. And a base hit for Santana. He's hit the ball hard 4 times tonight, and on at least a couple of occasions with 2 strikes. Schaefer checks in at third. That'll bring Dozier to the plate. RBI baseball is back. All 30 teams and 2014 players get the retro 2-button style baseball game you've been missing. Visit RBIGame.com for more details. Download today on your console and mobile device. Kurt Young's going to come to the mound.
A little stirring now in the Oakland bullpen. Nobody up and throwing yet, but pitching coach Kurt Young's going to try to settle down right-hander Dan Otero. Give him a breather anyway.
You know, the Twins fans have shown extraordinary patience again this year. And I think the consolation to what is Cook warming up, the consolation to what we've seen here in recent weeks is seeing the components to a much better ball club like Santana, and now maybe Vargas as well. Dozier fouls it off his foot, but of course it all comes down to starting pitching, and the reason the Twins have fallen into a bit of a tailspin again here in Oakland is the starting pitching had been very good. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier, and unless or until that improves, the overall team record isn't going to improve at all. 1-1 to Dozier.
The first game of this series, it was all about John Lester. He just dominated the game. Even though Johan Pino pitched a good game, got a quality start. 3 runs is all Lester needed. Kazmir did a good job for a while, but the Twins eventually got to him. But that particular night, right-hander Kyle Gibson had control issues of his own. Tonight, it was just the nerves and probably a little anxiety for the young right-hander Trevor May, followed by Samuel DeDuno, who struggled himself. So
that's down the line, foul by about a foot. 2-2. There's the box score. And the Twins out hitting the A's 12-9. And yet they're down by 6 runs.
You don't want to be Eric Fryer. You don't want to be that one guy without a hit in the lineup.
Only 1 out in the inning, and Cook's had plenty of time to warm up. This might be Otero's last man, particularly if Dozier reaches. With 5 hits against Otero. There was a line out off the bat of Plouffe. Skies one to short center. Crisp with the catch. Tagging and coming in is Schaefer. And Crisp just fires it to the middle of the infield. A sacrifice fly. Dozier drives in his 50th run. Two runs in here in the 8th, and that'll bring up Plouffe.
Number 24, Trevor Plouffe.
Plouffe gave the Twins a 1-0 lead in the first. Struck out in the 3rd. Drove in a run with a ground ball in the 5th, and then lined out to Sogard in the 7th. 54 runs batted in for Plouffe, 1 short of his career high. Here's a little flare to right, caught by Reddick, and the 8th inning is done. The Twins add 2 more, but still trail by 5. things off against Anthony Swarzak. Reddick with hits his last 2 times up. 36th appearance for Swarzak.
Pitched in last night's game. 1 inning of work. With a hit, a walk, and a strikeout.
Reddick, Lowry, Vogt, and if somebody reaches, Eric Sogard will come up for the 5th time. Fouled back. Fouled back. 1 and 2. Phil Hughes will start tomorrow. And the Twins desperately need a well-pitched start. Jason Hamill going for the A's. He's really struggled. 2-2. Short fly ball to center. Santana with the call on the catch, 1 away. CenturyLink linked to what's next. Phil Hughes going for win number 12 tomorrow against Jason Hamill. Came over with Jeff Samardzija from the Cubs.
Well, hopefully Phil Hughes will do what he's done several times this year, 11 times anyway, and that's win a ball game. The Twins desperately need to get the monkey off their back against the Oakland A's.
Lowry 0 for 3 with a walk. Strike 1. Well, you would think, wouldn't you, after Gibson had problems last night, May and Duduno had problems here tonight, you would not expect Phil Hughes to have problems walking people tomorrow. He's been one of the best control pitchers in the game.
He definitely pounds the strike zone. And for Phil, when he's been very good, it's usually because early in the game he mixes in a few breaking balls, off-speed breaking balls, along with that good fastball of his.
Fouled back. 2 strikes.
Until the Twins get to a point where it eats away at them, that these kind of games, this kind of run against Oakland really eats away at them, things won't change. But when it finally does, they'll figure out something. They will reach deep down. They'll get a well-pitched game. They'll score a bunch of runs. When that happens more and more, they start realizing that they can play with any team in baseball. And that's when playoff-bound teams start advancing. The Twins have got a lot of young players. We're showing you the nucleus of those young players that have got to get to a different level at some point.
Well, you were on the other side of this, but I remember when I was starting my broadcast career in 1983, the Tigers owned the Twins. It was a called 3rd strike, 2 down. Lowry thought that pitch was a little bit high, but 2 down, and Stephen Vogt will hit. I mean, you guys just dominated the Twins year in and year out. I mean, you dominated everybody in '84, but that seemed to go on for a while, where the Tigers were 2 runs ahead of the Twins by the first pitch. I mean, it just seemed that way. It was always 2-0 before the game started.
But I want to remind you, Dick, that it wasn't always like that for me anyway in Detroit. Our early years with the Trammels and Whitakers and Parishes, the early years, we got it handed to us regularly by our own division in particular, the East at the time. And I think it was only because we weren't as good as them. We didn't know how to win. And what I'm trying to relate to is you get to a point where enough's enough. And you know that talent-wise you're good enough to be there. That's why you're in the big leagues. and then you start producing, and you start playing better ball against those very good teams. You watch them, and you say to yourself, what are they doing that we don't do? How do they finish off games? How come they're always winning these games? And pretty soon it gets closer in balance, and then all of a sudden you get over the hump, and once you do, you smell and taste the feeling of that, and you don't want to ever go back to what it once was.
Strike at the knees, 2-2.
I've said all along, the Twins, even though they've really struggled against Oakland, I see signs of improvement, and that's a good thing. The question is, how long will it take before those steps aren't such big steps anymore?
Bouncer to the right side, a base hit for Vogt. That'll bring up Sogard for the 5th time.
Let's not walk this guy. I don't know if I've ever seen 4 walks by the number 9 hitter, but I certainly have not seen 5.
Well, someone who has apparently researched this has tweeted he has seen 20 pitches and walked 4 times. He swung the bat once in back of the 3rd inning. The last number 9 batter to do it was Ryan Langerhans with the Mariners. It's happened 13 times in Major League Baseball history. Ball 1. And according to one of my Twitter followers, never has a number 9 batter walked 5 times in a game. Never in this game.
Come on, Swarzy.
Off the plate. He won't walk. He makes the last out of the 8th inning. We go to the 9th. The Twins finally scored on Oakland's bullpen, so they made a change. And they'll bring in Ryan O'Flaherty to try to, Eric O'Flaherty, I should say, to try to pin this one down for the A's in the 9th inning. Kenny Vargas will now hit as a right-handed batter. Vargas 2 for 3. An infield hit. And an outfield hit that got to the outfield very quickly. Big swing. Looked like he hit it off the very end of the bat. 1 strike. Donaldson, nervous as a cat at 3rd base. So too is Jed Lowry. As a right-handed batter last night, Vargas, big swing and a miss, 0-2.
Did his best to try to decapitate both of them.
1 hop smashes. 2 strikes to Kenny Vargas. The Twins have Harry Castellano, the strength and fitness coordinator, and he's working with Vargas on agility drills in the outfield before some games. And he strikes out, breaking ball, and Vargas over the top, 1 down. Got a player here that really is committed to making himself the best baseball player he can be.
Now batting, number 16.
1 down, and that'll bring up Josh Willingham.
Why wouldn't you, right?
No.
Why wouldn't you? The world we live in, this wonderful sport, the opportunities that arise for anybody that can get to the big leagues and sustain it.
I do think, though, it comes easier for some than others. And I think
Certainly
Vargas is where he is now. He was a raw prospect. He is where he is now because he's worked hard to get to this point, and early returns are in. He's committed to taking his game to a higher level.
Well, that's what you want.
Willingham lashes one to left, but it'll die in the glove of full, 2 away. And that'll bring up Parmalee.
Number 27, Chris Parmalee.
Parmalee on the night, 1 for 4. Ball 1. Should mention that Oswaldo Arcia reported to the ballpark today with a sore lower back. And the hope is through Whirlpool or whatever will be available soon, if not tomorrow. Didn't do much of anything today. 1-1 to Parmalee. Two and 1. Three and 1. Popped up. It'll be chased by Donaldson in foul ground. And the losing streak to the A's is extended to 12 games. And Trevor May's major league debut a disappointment as he takes the loss.
It's the kind of game, and we've seen all too many of them against the Oakland A's, that you just want to forget about and move on to tomorrow. Phil Hughes will take the mound for the Twins. Trevor May just couldn't overcome his command, and he'll get another chance as the Twins move along through the season.
Anthony LaPanta, we've said it a bunch of different ways, but tonight we'll just toss it to you, saying that the A's cruise to another win over the Twins.